everyone, Chris at Laminex, and today we're going to do a custom universal sheet installation on this Honda taillight. But before we get started, we actually need to do a measurement to figure out what size universal sheet we need to purchase. So today I've cleaned this area all up, and what we're doing is I have a tailor's tape we kind of use for clothing, but it's a real soft basically ruler, so you can bend it and mold it around any area instead of using a hard ruler. So in this case, I'm going to use this tailor's tape, and I'm going to kind of look at the shape of this light. You know, I want to make sure that we have the proper sizing and get the proper measurement so that when we order our Laminex, it's not too small, but we also don't want to make it too large where you're just wasting extra money by buying a grossly oversized universal sheet. So anyway, we're going to take our tailor's tape, and I'm going to kind of take it to where it's widest point. And you know, in this case, the light kind of bends out this way and in this way. So we're kind of going to go around that widest point there, kind of bend the tailor's tape around it. I'm going to overlap it by a good inch or so. It's about 14 inches. So I'm going to kind of go up, kind of run my tailor's tape along here. Make sure I'm still staying in within the 14 inches. Yep, and that's about good. Then I'm going to take the longest point and kind of bend it around here and say, okay, it's about just over 18 inches, but I want to give myself a little extra room. So in this case, I'm going to run it up to 20 inches. Gives myself about an inch on each side to handle the film with my fingerprints without getting my fingerprints on the adhesive part where it's going to be affixing to the light. So I say 20 inches, and I'm just going to run the tailor's tape across the whole surface to make sure, yep, the 20 inches is going to give me enough surface area to cover the entire light. So there would be 14 inches by 20 inches. But then we have this other piece here that's kind of separated from this outer light. We have an inner light. And it's not worth going the whole entire length here and then the entire length there. Then you're going to have a lot more excessive Laminex, and then you're wasting money. But what we can do is we can figure the size of this, add it to the size of the outer piece, and then we can actually cut that piece off. And so it allows us to actually have a much more efficient use of the film. So in this case, I got to take the widest point that kind of curves out here, bend the tailor's tape around, so it's at least 5 inches, and I'm going to round it up, add it up, it's about 4.5 inches, so I'm going to round it up to about 6 inches. I'm going to run my tailor's tape. Yep, 6 inches will be perfectly fine to cover that light. And I'm going to measure it all the way up again. All right, so this was 20 inches in height. Will 20 inches meet what I need? Sure enough, it does. So this was 14 by 20 inches, and this is 6 inches by 20 inches. So I'll just add the 6 onto the 14. So then we'll purchase a 20 by 20 inch sheet of Laminex. And that would be covering for these two lights. And then we'll get a second sheet for the opposite side. So we'll need to get 2 sheets of 20 inch by 20 inch. And we'll cut off that 6 inches off of that 20 inch to be able to cover this piece. And then the remaining 14 inches will cover the outside piece. And then you can go to our website, select for universal sheets, and select the width and length of 20 inches, and select a quantity of 2. And once you receive your Laminex, you will receive all the installation instructions and tools for your custom installation. If you have any questions, just give us a call, hit us up on live chat, or email us at help@laminex.com. Thanks, and have a great day.